Good. All right, Glenn, you're up. Gerald Muizelaar, USA men's national team pitching coach. I did a video earlier this year and had a lot of good response. And with that, drew some attention from some younger pitchers that have taken an interest in the game. So we're here in Denmark, Wisconsin at Circle Tap, starting to work with some of these guys that showed interest and just doing some follow-up work with them. Been good wide range. Some guys as young as 14 have been pitching for 6 weeks. Up to guys who've been at it for 4, 5, 6 years, and a wide range of different things that we've been working on. So it's been good, and hopefully we can continue to do this and continue to grow the sport and continue to get more U.S. men's pitching talent in the pool. Hey, just give me 2 more and then we'll break down a couple items. Okay, all right. So, I mean, there are a few things going on. One, I think you're getting more from your legs than what you're getting. And the biggest part with the legs is whether, I'm not as concerned about do you jump, do you drag. What I'm concerned about is when you get to, and if anybody ever kind of talked to you, the K position. Okay, yeah. Yep. So what I find is when you get sort of to the top of your motion and ready to kind of power through for the second half of your delivery, what I find is your back leg is dragging behind. So you're more in this position where there's not a lot of power to be generated from this leg, as opposed to being more in this position. And when you get more in this position, like you just think, if you just stood here now and did that and think of the power you can generate versus doing the same thing and try to do it, you don't have nearly the same power when that leg is dropping back. So I would be really trying to focus on how do you get to more of this position here. And I'm not sure how long you've been around the men's game, but if you go back and you look at a lot of the really good pitchers, they'd have different mechanics in the front. They'd have different maybe positions where they start their feet, how they move their arms, whether they come back, drop out, whether they hesitate here. But almost all the great ones, you look and they were in a really good stacked position where this leg was sort of, it was more of a straight line as opposed to dragging behind. So, like I said, I'm not as concerned of how you get there. My biggest concern is that you get to this position. So, what I'd ask you to do is just throw a few pitches here, and work on getting here. Maybe even what we could do is just have you start here. So just start in this position, and then step through. You might even want to come a little closer. Just it's probably going to be a lot slower. So don't worry about velocity. Just start K position, wait on that back leg, and then follow through. So even start with the ball up over your head. So once you get there, stop, tap that front foot. So all that weight is on the back leg, bend that back leg a little bit more, and then just follow through. So that you start to do that. You start to get a little bit of that muscle memory of what is that second half supposed to look like, and then we'll worry about how do you get there. That's just kind of the second half of the conversation. But for me, that's what you want that feeling of right here and following through. Here, take this. We got another one for you. Okay. So, and Bradley, you might want to come in for this as well. Just some really sort of more fundamental stuff, and stuff that I've gone through with the other guys. And I think the video they did in Florida this past winter, I went through these steps. But if I can just take the ball for a second. So kind of a series of, you start with just roll the ball into your glove, then you bring the ball, again, it's all off of try to drop ball grip, put your arm here, coming through, and then kind of arm over your head, follow through, glove here, following through. What you're doing is sort of a variation of that, is getting stacked, following through. But those are all things, and you're doing all those drills while you're in what I call closed position, where basically draw a line between home plate and second. It goes through both of your feet, through both of your shoulders, and Yep. And also when you're coming here, it's getting the weight over the back leg. But the other thing you got to look for is that front shoulder. So you're coming and you're doing this, as opposed to this. Right? Your hips they'll rotate open. You got to try and force them to stay closed as long as possible. So when you're here, weight over this leg, and don't open up like this as you're coming through. Come through, arm coming through in front of your body like this, hips rotating as your arm comes through, as opposed to rotating first and shoulder flying open. So the two keys there for me is, kind of weight on that back leg, and then glove out, and keep this focus on this front shoulder staying closed as long as possible, and it'll naturally fly out. So, maybe do that same thing. Just kind of get in this K position and try and keep that shoulder closed, weight on the back leg, and just what that final stretch looks like, or the final or second half of your motion looks like. And just keep that shoulder closed the whole time. So, yep, right here. It should feel different. Yeah, okay. So again, I'll just hold it. Okay. Now, once you get in your motion, your shoulder's not gonna stay closed the whole time, but in this drill, try and keep it closed the whole time. So you get that motion of your arm coming through with your hip in front of your hips, as opposed to after your hips rotate. Okay. All right. Do you want to back up again, and now let's just throw a couple of live pitch. And the goal here is not to throw it as hard as you can. It's to try and get more to that position and keeping that shoulder closed and coming through. So even if you have to go half speed, that's fine, but we want to try and get to that more of that position with your legs stacked under you. Your back leg is staying behind. I'm probably taken away. Yeah, and now there's a couple ways you can get there. If you go more up as opposed to out, you're going to be able to get that leg on you. That's not the ideal solution. You want to try and get that leg coming through a little quicker.
Somebody tell me that. Why, instead of jumping out, jump more up. Because he was seeing the same thing. The back leg was dragging, taken away from my power.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think you want to go to an extreme, but I think a little bit more of your momentum going up and out as opposed to just out will help you with getting that back leg under your body in the K position. So it is a little challenging for me to say, because I was not a dragger. I would jump, I would leave the ground, and that's completely legal both in the ISC and in the WBSC now. So
I started dragging and then I switched, and that's where my mechanics got all.
Sure. So in this, maybe just kind of, without going through the full motion, just kind of start here, a little hop to this position, then come through. So, and with that hop, you're gonna just rotate this foot a little bit to get, boom. So maybe even do that. Actually, let's do that. Instead of going through a full motion, you were starting here, let's just get to this position. So start your normal, rotate, and just a little hop to get here. So let's even do it without throwing the ball. How about you just pause? So go here and get to K. Okay? Give me a little bit more up, but not quite as far out. Okay? Yep. I'd say that looks a lot better. Now, there are other things obviously break down when you get this, but this to me is the first thing to focus on. How do you get your leg when you get to the K position, and then with the shoulder, keeping it from flying open. Those are probably a few of the things that you want to anchor on. So let's give me a couple more pitches. Again, doesn't have to be full speed at all. Just trying to get to a good K position. Okay.
A lot of pitches. They're good.
Yep. That's where I think.
The hardest thing for me, I can tell.
Yeah. So if I were you, instead of trying to do everything at once, I would, like without a catcher, I would just be here and I go, boom. And I would just do that. And whatever you need to do with your arms to get the timing and stuff, some people sort of hesitate here. Some people put a loop. Some people come here out of the glove. But whatever it is, it's just get to that position and do that 100 times. And you can do that 100 times very quickly. And again, it's just set, boom, and get closed. If it doesn't seem to be your biggest problem is to get your shoulders closed, that seems to be pretty natural. But if it is, it's just kind of rotation of this foot is what's going to help you get there. And if if you're more of a dragger, then it would be more of that motion, but you want to get there. So, and after we can kind of go through a few more drills, but those are the ones. There is that video that's already out there on YouTube as well. It kind of walks through those. I think those are good things for you to work on. And again, it's knowing the why. I was just telling you what to do. So the why behind it is exactly what you're saying. Is it's generating power from your legs, so you're not throwing all arms. You get the legs into it, your arms staying closer to your body. The power from your legs is going to translate into additional velocity and additional spin. So that's, if I were you, I would focus on that and nothing else for the next little while. I wouldn't worry about rise, change, any of that. Just focus on sort of a drop ball, getting yourself kind of stacked over that leg, keeping that front shoulder closed. All right.
Am I done here?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good place. I don't want to give you too much to work on. I think those few items, and you continue to focus on those, start to make progress there. Then we can move on to some other stuff. And you can even watch some of the stuff that I was talking about with Jordan and with Alex. Yeah, but I would say those are the kind of the 2-3 main things that probably need to work on initially. Get those good mechanics, and then from there we'll continue to build. Even if you're not using much legs, but you get to a place where you're in a powerful position, we can work on legs after you get those mechanics fine-tuned a little bit. Okay.
You would just say a lot of starting from here, getting the mechanics right, and maybe start with some soft toss. Like
yeah. As soon as you throw full speed, you're gonna go back to your old ways. So that's why I think you really kind of break it down. Check yourself. Am I getting here? Am I getting stacked over that back leg? And then, boom, am I keeping my shoulder closed? And then combine them, and maybe even combine them with a bit of a hesitation. Right? And then kind of go half speed where it's more fluid through.
It should be natural after a while.
Yeah, I mean, it should be, yep. And taking some video of yourself. I mean, what I do, There's a lot of technology out there. Just a simple video on an iPhone, and you just slowly go frame by frame and saying, all right, where's my leg? Freeze it here. Am I stacked? Is that all right? Where's that shoulder as I go to release? That I think is is all I would kind of have you focus on for the short term here.
Absolutely. Where are you from?
So live in North Dakota, originally from Halifax, Nova Scotia area, or just outside of Halifax. Yeah. How about yourself?
Ohio.
Okay. What part?
Chillicothe, which is like an hour south of Columbus.
Got it. Perfect.
Thanks for watching, and we hope you found this video helpful. Now, it's up to you to get this video in the hands of as many new pitchers as possible, and breathe some new life into this game we all love.